We often hear people wishing us a long, happy, and healthy life. But what if the length isn't what matters most? What if instead it's the breadth, depth, and purpose of each day that matters most? Welcome to the Live the Width of Your Life podcast. My name is Aneta Ardelian Kuzma, and join me weekly as I interview guests who made changes in their own lives to live more fully with intention, gratitude, and joy. Be prepared to be inspired by their stories of how they shifted their mindset, took courageous action, and designed the life that they always wanted to live. Today's guest is Leslie Carruthers. Leslie is the CEO and founder of The Search Guru, a digital marketing agency serving large and enterprise-sized B2B brands. Her prior professional experience includes key roles at an electronic components distributor, where she was part of the company's e-business team, recognized by PC Week magazine as the third best B2B program in North America. Through speaking and serving startups through Fortune 50 companies, she is recognized as an authoritative voice on conversion rate optimization, content marketing, search engine optimization, paid media, and analytics. Leslie and her team have received rave reviews for bringing their effective, inspiring, and practical insights to several companies. She presents regularly, including Content Marketing World, the Retail and E-commerce Forum, Search Marketing Expo, as well as numerous national and regional events and groups. Leslie was named one of the top 50 content marketing influencers in 2018 and 2019, and one of the top women in SEO in 2012, and has been a Techstars Anywhere lead mentor. And she has the privilege of leading a crackerjack team of digital marketers committed to growth who keep their promises. Oh my gosh, Leslie, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks so much for asking me to be a guest on your podcast, Aneta. It's an honor, and I'm thrilled to be talking about living the width of your life. It's brilliant.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so excited to have you on the show. You are someone who is such an inspiration to me, and I look to you and all that you've accomplished in your life, but also who you are as a person and as a being. And I want to share that broadly with everybody else on the show today. So thank you.
Generous of you to say, and namaste. Right back
Namaste, my
at you.
friend. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about things that are important to you, your background, maybe things that you can share with the audience, some of the things that they might be able to find on LinkedIn or on your website, but maybe some things that are near and dear to your heart that you wouldn't be able to necessarily find online about you.
Sure. I am really committed to growth and development. It's I always have a coach. I often have a couple, and I really value one of the things I value most in life actually are new inputs, examples
Mm.
of created lives. That concept of a created life has been a core theme for me since I was young. I'm not sure where I got it, and not just doing what's in front of you or what's expected or the normal or whatever, and seeking out individuals, communities, examples of a created life. Like it could look like anything in any area of life. It seems to me to be able to come up with new outputs, different ways of thinking, to see more options for yourself, more choices, freedom there is to get new inputs and to see different options. They may not necessarily be a fit for you, but the more new inputs you can have, the more possible new outputs there are. So I have communities of people and just really value folks who, I put you in that category, are examples of a created life, because it makes more possible for all the rest of us.
Wow. Well, thank you. And I put you in that category. Now, I'm curious, how did this present itself when you were younger? So, what did that look like in terms of your curiosity with this concept of created life?
Um, so I watched, you watch people when you're little because you're figuring out
Yeah.
what's this human being game. And you notice that some of the things are appealing or attractive to you and some things less so. So you, yeah, I've always been a good student, you know,
Mm. Mhm.
notice things. Yeah, I think I'm built for it. I think it's a combination of that and then watching my parents. If there was something that, you know, when I was 10, my dad built us a playhouse on stilts in the backyard and covered it with, uh, slices of the outside of logs like it was a log cabin. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, he
Yeah.
just the neighbor's son worked for the telephone company, so he got telephone poles somehow from him, and I mean, how do you do that? Just,
Right?
one summer, all of a sudden, there was a playhouse on stilts in the backyard. Like, so cool. And my
Mm.
mother, wanted certain things in the house, so, like, refinished all the woodwork and the cupboards, and, that might not necessarily be a project that I'm interested in taking on for myself and my space, and
Yeah.
she knew what she wanted and she made it happen. I can remember another summer where my dad added onto the house. He did it with books. I asked him recently, like, how did you know how to do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
And he said, well, I had this book. I mean, it's amazing. My dad can figure anything out or learn anything.
Oh
So
my
it's
gosh.
I had great examples, and once they set their mind on something, it got done. There was no question that the addition was going to be complete and great, and that the kitchen cupboards were going to be beautiful. Like, that's just, yeah. So it occurred to me, like, you just say this and then you do it, and there you are. So yeah,
Wow.
lots of other examples, my grandparents, and a lot of entrepreneurship in the family, not necessarily always doing the same thing. It may not have been so far out of the norm at the time, and as a little kid, it was like, oh, cool, cool, maybe not for me, but that's cool that you're doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Those are amazing examples. And how do you feel like being able to see your parents and your grandparents and those who are close to you, like you said, they wanted something and then they figured out how to make it happen. Do you feel like that sparked your interest in entrepreneurship at a young age?
Definitely. My dad's mother, my maternal grandmother, had several businesses. She had, yeah, circumstances had it that she needed to cause income, and
Mm-hmm.
she cut hair from her home. Was a beautician. She um, had a couple of other, like, home businesses. She was in
Mm-hmm.
tech early in the day. She worked the
Wow.
cards for the mainframes, the box of cards that
Yeah.
used to be back in the day. Yes, I can say my grandmother was a woman in tech.
Wow.
And my dad always admired entrepreneurship. My mother didn't have quite the risk tolerance, so he didn't start a business of his own until, which is
Mm-hmm.
funny because she had a business. She watched kids at home until all of us kids are out, which, yeah, it's a business.
Mm-hmm.
And then my father started a remodeling business in his retirement years. So I saw that as, like, upheld as a thing to be admired. Mhm.
Wow. Okay. And so tell us about some of the different trainings that you've gone through. So you said that you
Oh,
have always invested, and this is
yeah.
something that's been important to you. And I admire that
Mhm.
you are somebody who is constantly looking for something different.
Mm,
And then you share. I know you've shared with me, this is what I did, this is how it worked for me. And then it piques in me a curiosity to try some new things. So could you share some of the things that you've been involved with and that have really impacted you positively in your life?
sure, sure. It occurs to me I can't learn everything, like, just me. There's, like, the collective consciousness, and
Yeah.
I can plug into what other folks have found, and I really appreciate being able to leverage experts in other areas. Um, yeah, so I learned early on from a few girlfriends about Landmark Worldwide, and I've taken training from them for, it's been 18 years now, pretty
Wow.
consistently. I don't know that there's been a year I haven't done a program. If there is, it's just one or two. I've done the curriculum for living there. It's the best sales training I've ever had. It's the
Mm.
best listening communications training I've ever had. I have the quality of my relationships today are thanks to a lot of the training there, self-awareness that I have. Yeah, it's extraordinary. I have a book. In one of the courses, you develop a book of your life, and there's a page for every year, and you look at the communities in your life, you look at the major events, and it helps you see how you became who you are,
Oh my gosh.
and really gives you a different perspective, different context. It shifts context in a lot of areas, in a lot of ways. And yeah, super. And there's a lot of social events too. It's a group of people. I can't say enough about Landmark Worldwide. The programming is just so smart. And it's a group of people who are up to something. Like, you can't show up small inside of a Landmark program. And I work with a coach inside of Landmark, the personal coaching program. And it's just extraordinary. There's a lot of brain science in there. There's a lot of uh, concepts and theories that you've never thought of before, but once you get it, something clicks. And I really appreciate having access to that. And some of my my best examples of a created life come from people in my Landmark community. One of my coaches at one point, Dwight Goldwind, is a U.S. citizen. I think he was born in Tennessee, who lived in China for a couple of decades because, he just decided he was going to do that, and he set the plan in motion and did it. He lived in Kunming, and the weather is temperate, and yeah, there are a number of things about it that had him choose that. And then I have another girlfriend who's developed herself kind of by accident she became a medium, and
Wow.
created a program that was about wellness and accessing your intuition. And I've trained under her for that it's been 13 years now. Yeah. So I really appreciate finding, those are just a couple of examples. I've had numerous coaches, um, yeah, all along the years. I mean, I've worked with this coach, Aneta Kuzma, you might know her, on a personal vision plan. That was extraordinary. And um, you can find opportunities to see new things just about everywhere. I mean,
Mhm.
I started practicing yoga with you at the beginning of
Mhm.
COVID, when you generously
Yep.
offered that free month to help people with the transition and wellness and mental health
Yeah.
and everything. And that's something where I really notice now how loud my brain is on the mat. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, shoot. Yeah. I just recently took a program called Zero to Dangerous that a girlfriend recommended, super smart girlfriend that has a business. She's a international pricing strategy expert. I know some really cool people. I mean, it's
Yes, you do.
important who you hang out with, right? It
Yeah.
calls you into being, it pulls you forward
Mhm.
in a way that we don't always think about, that it's
Right.
critical. Yeah, and that was about how to get into flow more regularly and
Mm.
often, and it really got me thinking about the structures of my day. And you've talked about this before, how important the
Mhm.
morning and evening routines are.
Yep.
And I mean, it's all the little things add up to the big things. And
Yes.
it's an inch a day or a percent a day, but by the time you've gone 30 days, 30 years, you're way over here instead of over here, which is often, yeah, quite lovely.
Oh my God. I love that. And so, what would you say to folks who don't want to make the investment, either the money investment, the time investment, or they don't understand what the value is
Hmm.
to sign up for different programs or to really invest in themselves? I always say it's an investment in yourself. It's not,
Hmm.
obviously, there's an exchange of energy and resources, but what would you say to people that are sort of been holding back because they're worried about the time or the money?
So if it's money, there are tons of free resources. I mean, YouTube,
Right.
yeah, MOOCs, right? Free courses that colleges offer on the
Yeah.
regular. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, there are tons of people that, if you just express appreciation for what they know and what they're doing, would be happy to share their knowledge with you or
Yep.
point you in the direction of, here are the places to spend your time. If it's money, yeah, if it's money, it's that. If it's time, Shoot, I don't even know. I don't understand that.
Right.
And I guess it would be the conversation would be, well, we put our time, we follow our commitments with our time.
Mm,
So what is it that matters to you? And if it's something
yeah.
else and you're putting your time into that, then great. There's nothing wrong.
Mhm.
And if it is actually that you're here and you want to get here, then, there's just to look and see, okay, are you watching stupid television?
Right.
Are you,
Right.
are you watching master classes because you bought that subscription for the year? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you, um, who are you hanging out with? What are you feeding your brain? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like what are you feeding your body?
I love that. And I love that you just highlighted there are so many free resources. So, really, there's something available for everybody who is interested in growth and development. One of the other things that I admire about you, and you're so good at this, is you are amazing at networking. I know that you are very committed to having a certain number of conversations. And so, can you talk to us a little bit about how you approach networking and developing new relationships and just expanding your community and sphere of influence?
Mm, thanks. One of the things that I would attribute to Landmark Worldwide and some of the other growth and development I've done is I've intentionally cultivated a love of people. S- People, I have a girlfriend who's people are adorable, right? There are, you could come up with a story, you could have it seem that people are the enemy, and I have moments like that, of course, and consciously cultivating, just wonder and curiosity and admiration and love of people, uh, pulls you toward them. And if you really look, you'll find evidence for whatever it is you want to prove to yourself.
That's right.
And so if you start looking for evidence that people are amazing, it's everywhere. And the funny thing is, for myself, I can't speak for everyone else. Although I think this is universal. I think we're all trying to prove ourselves to each other, right? We're all running around thinking that we're not enough, some version of I'm worthless,
Yeah.
and I can't let the others know. If we go back to the caveman days, they'll kick me out if I don't have purpose here and I can't survive on my own. I'll die. Like
Yeah.
it seems that may sound like dramatic, but I believe that's underneath humanity, just
Hmm.
running all the time. So I can't be interested in you, or I need to manipulate you, or I need, like, if I'm in that survival mode, then it's what can I get? I'm in my needs, my small little self, and that's not gonna create connection. That's not gonna offer anyone an opportunity, any of us, an opportunity to be amazed, to
Hmm.
get curious, to really, yeah, connect. And stepping up and out of that, and that's that growth and development piece that gives you access to stepping out of survival. That's really what makes it possible to have networking be enjoyable.
Hmm.
And to really, yeah, and to enjoy people, be with them, and get what matters to them, what they're committed to, and contribute to each other.
Oh my gosh. And you're such a master connector. You've connected me to so many individuals. So that shows that you're listening to what people are sharing. And then you're able to go beyond yourself, which is really selfless, connecting more people together. What have you found works best? If you're wanting to reach out to someone, you want to connect with them, you don't necessarily have a relationship with them, if it's not like a warm referral,
Mhm.
what has worked for you?
Mm. Sure, that's easy. You just research them. I mean, we have Google. It's so easy
Yeah.
now. You just look at their LinkedIn, look if they're on Facebook or Instagram, wherever they hang out, TikTok, wherever they are. If they're posting content, that makes it
Yeah.
super easy.
Hmm.
If they're not posting content, then it's not quite as easy. But
Hmm.
usually, the folks I find are that I'm interested in meeting, or that are up to something. There's some footprint. There's some digital footprint that you can
Yeah.
reverse engineer and just be curious. I mean, who
Hmm.
wouldn't love somebody to reach out wherever they are and be like, wow, you did this and this, and I want that for myself, and
Right.
I don't know how to get to it. Would you, can I get you a cup of coffee? Can I, like, would you take a Zoom with me just for 15, 20 minutes to
Yeah.
share what there is for me to do to get to that or start to get to that point. Yeah, that's everybody loves that. Nobody would say, no. Yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh, you're so good at that, and it feels so genuine. So I think that's the other piece is that genuine curiosity.
Mm.
So I want
It
to hear
really
about.
gets you far, Aneta, if you can,
Yeah.
consciously. So actually, the best example I have of that is how I got started in digital marketing. At the time, it was specifically search engine optimization, SEO. I was working client side, and the folks there were a bit ahead of their time. They said search engine optimization is the next big thing. You need to figure it out and do it here. It was 2004. And I talked them into sending me to a conference. And there I heard Heather Lloyd Martin speak. She's considered by most to be the founder of SEO copywriting, and just really clicked for me. I have a journalism degree and I've always been a wannabe tech. And SEO is a perfect blending of those things. So I reached out to her after the conference and I offered myself as an unpaid intern if she would train me. And she
Wow.
took me up on it. Yep. And for 6 months, I pestered her and her and another person on her team to send me work. And sometimes it went well, and sometimes I failed.
Mm.
She kept hanging in with me, and I kept pestering her for more opportunities to work. And I just did the things in the evening, and then she eventually brought me on full time and started paying me, which was awesome.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, was that after 6 months?
yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
6 months of, yeah, yeah. Trying to figure out how to get another assignment out of her because she was busy, she was speaking
Yeah.
all over the world. Yeah, it was the smartest email I ever wrote. And I tell that story, and there's only ever been one person who's done it back to me. And he
Really?
worked for me for, I think, about 5 years. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
when you got the email, did he email you, or is that how did he reach out to you?
I was speaking to a college course. A friend of mine was a professor and was talking about e-commerce, and yeah, and told that story. And so he followed up after and said, "Hey, remember that story?" Yeah. I think he's I was just looking at the other day because his birthday was recently, and he's in a leadership position in analytics at McDonald's. It's really
Good for
cool.
him. That's
Yeah, he
amazing.
really pulled it toward himself. Mhm.
So if anyone's listening, here's your permission to reach out to someone you admire and to ask if you could work for them because it's worked for others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just work for free for a while. Do it in the evenings, weekends. You never know what you'll end up with, and I mean, who would say no to that?
That's right. Who would say no? So tell me, when did you start your own business? So you loved SEO. And so tell me when you started the Search Guru.
Sure. It was June of 2004. We just started our 18th year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I used to, if I met someone who'd had their business for more than 5 years, I'd ask if I could rub their arm for luck. Yeah. And Heather shuttered her business for about a year and a half. Andy Beal started one of the first publicly traded SEO firms in North America at the time. And she didn't take any of us with her. And I loved working for her and with the team there. So I hadn't really thought. And the funny thing is, she made running a business look easy. So I figured, oh, well, I'll try this before I go find a job. I need to call her and say thanks again and have a laugh about that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
sometimes it helps to be a little naive, right? Otherwise,
Magical
otherwise,
thinking. It
yes,
helps us
we
and it hurts
allow
us.
the fears in.
Totally. Totally. Yep. 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 Yep.
So, what are some of the things that you attribute to your success? 18 years, you've got a team
Mm.
that supports you, you've worked with all kinds of different organizations and different industries. So, what are
Yeah.
some of the
Some big
things that
brands.
you've learned along the way?
Mm. One of the things I did initially that was really smart that I didn't realize was so smart, in addition to reaching out to Heather Lloyd Martin, because I mean, I got to learn from world class person. And one of the things she taught me right out of the gate is it's not about what you think it's about. So,
Mm,
I got to sell for her company, and you're not selling rankings in SEO, for instance. You're
mhm,
selling lead generation and sales. So, really be clear about what it is
mhm,
you're selling, what your offer is. That's huge. Yeah, she's a direct marketer as well as a digital marketer. So smart. She's so smart. So I was so lucky to learn from her. And then the other thing I did that was really helpful was because I worked for her and would travel and support her at conferences where she was speaking. I met a lot of really cool people, and I met some folks who were selling technologies that were
Mhm.
related but not competing, and networking with those folks and asking them for their help early on has been really helpful. And in fact, I had in those early days a formal referral program, still do. And we paid 10% of invoices at the time for the lifetime of the client. So when you find someone who is a 1099 for another
Mhm.
company, they own their Rolodex,
Yeah.
right? They're a contractor and they can't always monetize that Rolodex fully. So
Mhm.
if I could help them do that, um, and it's funny because if someone hears this and decides they want to give that a go, what's really funny is these folks were really great people. So they'd be like, oh, a lot of folks would be like, oh no, put the money back into your business, reinvest into your business. You're a startup. You had to actually say, how about you put it in your kid's college fund? They
Right.
can't say no to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those relationships made filling the pipeline much easier early on, and that got me exposure to brands I wouldn't have been able to get into on my own. Those warm leads, those referrals, so that was really smart. I didn't realize it early on. And then I've never had a problem. Well, I can't say that. I think I've had less of a problem than maybe most in asking for help. And I've always had a coach. I've always had mentors. I've yeah, spent the time and the money to get
Yeah.
good coaching, put myself in the room with other women business owners in particular who had more experience than me and asked questions and listened. Yeah, really appreciate the time that folks have given me and that I've then, been able to do something similar for others. Yeah, so that's been amazing.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love that.
sorry, Alexa's talking.
It happens. Um, and one of the other things that I admire about you is that you give credit to your team. You talk a lot about your team and how you source talent. And you have a very interesting team in the sense that they're all remote. So tell us a little bit about what your team looks like. And did you intentionally decide to structure your business this way, or did it just naturally start to unfold?
Sure. So thank you.
Mhm.
And so Heather Lloyd Martin, who I worked for before starting the Search Guru, her business was a distributed model company. This was back
Mhm.
in 2004, 2005. So she was a
Wow.
really digital nomad pioneer for sure.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I can't say enough about her. Just an extraordinary woman. And so to me, it was, why would you put makeup on and go to the office every day if you don't have to, right? um, Save the commute time, get more work done,
Yeah.
balance and flex time. I was working in East Coast time zone, but had clients, my networks were more on the coast. So it was, easy to just work when it made sense and take breaks when it made sense. So yeah, I've never aspired to have the corporate office, and you're limited. You can only find talent that can drive to your place. Then, I mean, that just never made sense to me. Why would I limit myself that way when the world you could source from the world? It's and just in the same way that travel is so important in broadening your horizons and helping you see the other isn't so different from you. This remote work is similar. I mean, it's not quite. You still need to like travel makes sense. Travel works,
Right.
and yeah, my team is in Europe and Asia. And, we've had teammates in Africa. We've had teammates in the Middle East. We still have a few contractors right now who do some projects. Our,
Mhm.
our company is organized like a bullseye, like the Target logo, if you will. And that core center of us, we're usually 7 to 10 people. And then the next ring out are channel experts. And then the next ring out are subject matter experts in
Mm.
particular industries. And we keep a big Rolodex. So we've had folks in Central America, Latin America, Um, yeah, nobody in Antarctica yet, or
Not
Australia,
yet.
New Zealand. Yeah, haven't sourced from there. But no, and the opportunity, tech is a huge opportunity for women and for folks in parts of the world that might not have the opportunities that you
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoy. So it's really fantastic to be able to find smart people who are really up to something wherever they are in the world and create opportunities for them. Yeah,
Oh
I've
my
worked
gosh.
with my sales assistant, um, travels in Asia, in China, and we've worked together. Goodness, I think I think maybe 13 years now. Yeah, and I've had teammates. One of our tech services managers in the past said it was worth about $10,000 in salary to her. So I used to be able to find some operational savings too, to have flex time and remote work.
Mm,
Not that we want to underpay people. And,
right.
there are values other than just the dollars you're getting paid, or, however you're getting paid. Um, yeah, that really matters to people. And we've only had one instance where someone didn't respect the boundaries, and we needed to get someone an outside office space because it didn't
Yep.
work in her family.
Yep.
But yeah, it's we've usually had more women than men on the team. That's just how it's worked, not intentionally.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a better USA citizen and a global citizen for having worked with people all over the world. You get the news, whatever you get from here in the United States. You get one version of it, but if
Yeah.
you talk to somebody in Europe or Africa or Asia, you can get a totally different point of view that's equally valid that you hadn't considered, and it's
Mm-hmm.
really healthy to look at all of them. I really, really appreciate the ability to work with smart people who think differently than me in some ways, and in other ways we absolutely think alike. Like yeah, that's actually part of my growth and development too.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can, the exchange rates can work in your favor. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a great way to have protect margin and
Right.
have the business um,
Yeah.
generate revenue and work.
I love this idea of being able to get perspectives from people in different places.
Hmm.
Definitely tied to growth and development, but also it just makes the world seem a little bit smaller, right? I always say
Yes.
it could be as big or as small as you make it to be.
Yeah. My head of growth is just thrilled right now that she's working with a video editor, a woman in Lebanon.
Amazing.
I mean, yeah, how cool. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, she's in Europe and she thinks that's cool. I mean, we all have yeah, we all get to, hmm yeah, it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
So tell us a little bit like who's your ideal client? So if someone's listening and they're like, gosh, maybe I'm more curious about what Leslie and her team do. So who's your ideal client? What are some of the things that you bring to businesses?
Sure. Thank you. We have a real sweet spot with large and enterprise sized companies. We're really great account and project managers in addition to bringing results. And the tip of the spear for us well, for a few years now, has been landing page optimization. And I have to dampen the results when I talk about it. Like, it's just extraordinary. The team is doing such a tremendous job. And we're able to not only set the strategy, like do all the interviews, uh, produce the wireframes, videos, um, copy optimization, but we're then able to implement. So it's
Oh my gosh.
really something for companies who are, I mean, and which company isn't bandwidth constrained,
Yep.
uh, budget or resource constrained, and you know everybody says, don't be another consultant who just puts something on my list that doesn't get done or gives me a report that goes in a drawer,
Right.
right? Like, let's actually get something done and live.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's really fantastic. And
That's
we do,
wonderful.
yeah, also paid media and analytics and technical SEO. And, happy to
Yeah.
talk with anyone. We're happy to do a free work session with anyone to help with their problems. Our specialty is business to business. And, you know, long, complicated sales cycles are our favorite. So,
Well, and you are so generous. I know that you post regularly on LinkedIn and you share some results. You share a lot of tips out there. So people should definitely be following you if they aren't on LinkedIn and taking advantage of that free work session, which is very
Thanks.
generous.
We
Of
love doing
course.
those. They're so much fun. It's so fun to learn about people, what they're up to in the world, what they're committed to and accountable for. And then, you know, yeah, what's not working. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, what is next? So, you continue to work on growth and development. You have that book of your life that you work on.
Mhm.
And so, what's next? What are you willing to share that you still want to either do, see, achieve? Are there things that are in the near or distant list?
I'm really looking forward to enjoying the summer here
Mm,
and being in Cleveland, Ohio is a place where I've lived for a number of years earlier in my life, like after college. And I know a lot of really wonderful people here. So for the summer, I'm really looking forward to re-engaging with that community
yeah.
and just enjoying, Cleveland, Ohio has a few seasons we enjoy. So that'll be terrific. And then I love to travel. I've been a lot of places, but there's still a lot of places I haven't checked
Hmm.
out. And I'm really interested in where I've had the wonderful opportunity to live and work in lots of different countries, and I want to keep playing with that
Yeah.
and seeing what. Yeah, so it's I haven't been one to have like a clear cut bucket list. Some people are really like
Hmm.
want to do this and then this and this and just check them off the list. And um, there are so many cool things to see and do. So I'm more interested in just being present to what presents itself and um, yeah, having setting myself well so I have the freedom to choose and to take advantage of opportunities as they show up.
That's awesome. Being present and open. So, the title of this podcast is called Live the Width of Your Life, and it's based on a Diane Ackerman quote. What does it mean to you to live the width of your life?
Wow. That created life concept
Mm,
is huge for me. So it's seeing opportunities, not just a limited set of normal or whatever that is, but the idea of really collecting other people's stories of what they've created that I haven't ever thought of or seen before, and then choosing from that or seeing something else for myself. So that what's the other quote about the unexamined life too? I'm
yeah.
also very interested in uh, why are we this way? How did we come to be this way? Like the psychology of us human beings. We're very interesting and adorable.
Mhm.
And yeah, becoming more aware of why I'm the way I am and being proactive instead of reactive and contributing and being in, mm, yeah, just like being love in all my engagements, what I'm up to. So, like that to make a difference.
Yeah.
And that to me is the width. So it's not going through the motions. You've said it before. So, if everybody's working for the weekends, no,
Yeah.
really being present to and enjoying, like savoring and the freedom and the choices and the opportunities and uh, in such a way that we create those things for others also.
Hmm. Beautiful. I love the way you defined that. Leslie, I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful for your friendship. I'm grateful that you joined us today and you shared some of your wisdom and your story. I know it'll inspire others to be able to live more courageously, take some chances, some adventure, and also just really examine their life, like you said, and create something that they want to live that aligns to their values. If the group here is curious about how they can best support you, what can we do?
Hmm.
How can we support you best?
Oh, well, thank you. If you are an example of a created life, and we all are in some way, I'd love to
Yeah.
hear about what you're doing, right? More inputs create the opportunity for more
Hmm.
different inputs, for more different outputs. And then always referrals are wonderful, right?
Yeah.
If we go down to the upper end of mid-sized businesses, about 55 million in revenue and up, tend to have budget. The sweet spot being large and enterprise companies who are struggling to meet goals, uh, and just will have a problem. If someone brings us an interesting problem, we love that. So any, um, yeah. And if you've got a community or you've got an opportunity for growth and development that you think is really special or interesting, I'd love to hear about that too.
Mm.
And let
And
me know
what
how I
is,
can help,
oh
please.
my gosh, thank you for that. And what is the best way that folks can get a hold of you? Is it through LinkedIn or on your website? We'll include everything
Sure.
in the show notes, of course.
Sure. Yeah, LinkedIn is fine. My email address is Leslie, Leslie, at the search guru, GURU.com. Heck, my cell phone's 440-463-3871 +1 if you're outside of the US. Feel free to reach out and happy to talk.
Oh my gosh. Thank you again, Leslie. If you watched today's episode and you were inspired and enjoyed it, please share it with your friends, share it with everyone that you think could benefit from this, like it, and subscribe so you're notified anytime we get a new episode. Thank you for joining. I hope you have continued success, that you are able to enjoy and savor every day, especially the short lived Cleveland summers.
Thank you, Aneta. And thank you for creating the podcast. I'm
Of
looking forward
course.
to listening to these episodes. It's wonderful, wonderful conversations. Thank you for the
Thank you,
opportunity.
Leslie. Have an amazing
Mhm.
day.